Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here on this Monday, the 13th of April, 2020. Now, you know what? This virus has caused a tremendous deflation within the system, and the stock market's getting ready to start to roll over again, roll over really big. You know, if they don't want a absolute terrible depression to come in the next few months. And I'm not talking a long time into the future, like just right away, starting to go into a depression. A depression that makes the Great Depression era look like child's play. I mean, this would be worse. They need to do something, and I know exactly what they need to do. They're not doing enough. They're doing the bare minimum. They're being stingy with the money. What they need to do is they need to offer more support to small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses that can't open right now, and they can't pay the bills for the next few months, you know? And they need to do open support. I mean, they're doing open support in the repo market for these big corporations and the big banks and everything like that. But they're not covering the smaller parts of the economy. Everything needs to be covered, you know. And now I did a show yesterday or the day before on gold confiscation. And you know, the Fed's not going to buy the gold directly. When these places spring up and when the price gets up higher, maybe I don't know, maybe $4,000 an ounce or whatever for gold. When the price gets up in that area, you know, these places that buy gold, you know, and the sign says we buy gold and stuff, they're not going to sell the gold directly to the Federal Reserve. But they are going to send it out to smelting companies that are going to smelt and cast it into bars. You know? Now think about it for a minute. That gold was, before you sold it to them, in your little jewelry box or whatever, you know, at home. The gold's going to end up into being a gold bar. And where are those gold bars going to end up being? In a big giant vault. That's where they're going to end up being. They're not going to be in your little jewelry box any longer. That's the end result, you know. But they're not going to sell them directly to the Fed. But they're going to end up being in the big vault rather than being in people's possession. And this is my point in that show, you know, is the gold is moving. It's going to be moving out of the possession of the people and into bars, big bars, and stored in big vaults. That's my point. That's the big point about all this. And that's a transfer of gold out of the hands of the people and into the hands of the few. Out of the hands of the many and into the hands of the few. And that was the point of my show. But let's move on. Oh, and one other point I want to make is I've been predicting that was going to happen for years now. And when I started predicting that was going to happen, the gold price was down like $1,200 or whatever, and we're moving in that direction because the gold price has to get up to about $4,000 before that's really going to start to happen. Before you're going to see these little places spring up that we buy gold. The gold price has to get up extremely high before that happens, you know. And we're moving quickly in that direction. And we've moved a long way. We've moved halfway there since I first done my shows on that particular subject. But now let's move on. Let's get started and let's open up the markets right here and let's take a look at what's going on today in the world. We're seeing the silver price down 29 cents today. Of course, these are temporary movements, and it's caused by the deflation starting to come back. Because they're not, like I say, they're not doing enough. They need to do more support for the smaller end of the economy. What they've done is they've only done token support for the smaller end of the economy. and they've done big support on the Wall Street side of the economy. They need to do big support on both sides of the economy. I mean, what's the real difference here? What are they? What's the big difference between whether they're $20 billion in debt or they're $30 billion in debt? At this point, they can't pay any of it off anyway. So, I mean, go big or go home. Cover all of the small people within the economy, the general part of the economy, and do it in a big way so we don't have food lines. Otherwise we're gonna have the same thing that happened during the Great Depression. That's coming if they don't get out there and start to do it to cover everyone in a meaningful way. You know, so we got a silver price falling today. It's 24 cents down, $15.15. And let's take a look at gold. Gold hasn't fell. It's up $4.10, 16.89 today on gold. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. It's been hovering around that $200 billion mark for weeks now, for quite a little while now. $191.4 billion, 64.1 Bitcoin dominance, and we're looking at 6704 for Bitcoin. It's down 3.25% today. 6704. It's been struggling to try to hang on to the $7,000 mark. Bitcoin has. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones today. Dow Jones Industrial Average. We refresh the page just to see where it's at. It's down 276 points on the day, 23,443. Now, I kind of expect the Dow Jones right now to fall some more. It darn well could test its bottoms. The bottoms it made around 18,000. It darn well could test those bottoms again. Because we are certainly not over this virus. In fact, right now, I don't think we're quite to the halfway point yet, and it means it's going to be an awful lot more trouble from it in the very near future, as it progresses through the population. It's a terrible thing, a pandemic. I never realized a pandemic could cause this much trouble. Of course, I've lived through a couple other pandemics. The 1968 Hong Kong flu, it killed 1 million people around the world. I lived through that. I remember my mother had it, and my grandfather had it. I must have had it, but I was a kid, and kids have a lot of colds and flus, But anyway, my mother said, oh, it was horrible. The nights she spent, with these high fevers night after night after night. She said that her bed was all wet with sweat, every morning when she'd wake up. She had the Hong Kong flu. It was a terrible bad influenza. And then most all of us have been through the swine flu that started down in Mexico. I think it started in Mexico City. And that wasn't very long ago, and that was a pandemic too, but it didn't cause the trouble this one's causing. This one's causing a tremendous amount of trouble in the world, this particular pandemic. And there's probably good reason for it. The governments out there are protecting us from this, and social distancing is the way, evidently, to protect the world from this particular pandemic, because I guess it can live on surfaces and everything like that. So you got to be careful. You got to keep a clean environment. Keep your hands clean. Don't touch around your face with your hands and stuff like that. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take a look at crude oil. 23.46 for crude oil, and it's up 3% on the day, or 0.70% on the day. 23.46 for crude. So crude is rising just a little bit today. Now let's take a look at U.S. Treasuries. And we're seeing the Treasury yields rising all the way across the board. It's nothing really big time substantial, but we're looking at 1.37 on the U.S. 30-year and 0.73 on the U.S. 10-year today for U.S. Treasuries. Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index, 99.55. Now, I'm going to tell you, the dollar index, what it's being compared against is a basket of other currencies, and all of those currencies are moving down in their purchasing power with the dollar. So it's all about what the dollar's being compared against. Uh, but it's 99.55. I think we're going to see the dollar take a major hit in its purchasing power in the very near future, because all of the goods and everything that you buy, nobody's been doing anything. Okay, the core part of the economy is still running, like grocery stores, but manufacturing and stuff, worldwide, it's all off. It's been switched off by the virus. And so when this virus starts to move away, that's when we're going to really see the demand for goods out there, products and everything else. We're going to see dwindling inventory, because there's a lag period there where if the virus starts to move away, everybody starts to buy things again, the economy starts to open up, and you're going to see these inventories in warehouses like at Amazon and stuff. They're going to start to run out of a lot of things, like things that normally are made in China. Things like shoes, and I mean, the list is endless of all these things that are manufactured that are going to go into short supply. So you're going to want to buy something. I don't know what that might be. You're going to go on Amazon, and you're just going to see a little thing on it that says out of stock, 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 on almost everything. And might find one that's in stock, but the one that's in stock, because these sellers know that you can't buy it anywhere else, what are they going to do? They're going to jack the price up on you. You're going to pay twice what you used to pay if you really want that item. Maybe it's a television, you know? And you'll go to buy a television and they're all out of stock, except maybe they got one in stock. Well, the price can be double or half again more than you would have paid for it, just 6 months ago. That's what's going to happen. Manufacturing will pick up again. Factories will start after the virus is gone, but there's going to be a lag in the inventories of everything, so the price is going to go up on everything. And food prices. I don't think we're going to see absolute food shortages where there's no food available, but we're going to see what we used to have when we went into the grocery store. Like, you'd go to buy spaghetti sauce and there'd be 50 different brands, and they were all cheap. Or a lot of them were at a very good price. Now you're going to see like 2 brands available, sort of thing. And it's going to be where the price is going to go up on these food supplies, on food everywhere. So we're going to see the purchasing power of our dollars eroded while this is going on. At the same time, there's also a deflation with the environment. This leads to something called stagflation, which is the worst place you can possibly be. Anyway, listen, thank you guys for listening to this show. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.